Hello, darkness, my old friend. You've come to talk with me again. Sens lose 5-1 to the Calgary Flames. A second-place team against a last-place team, with the last-place team on the second night of a back-to-back. That's about what you would expect. I mean, they were in it for a while, but the longer the game went on, the less the Sens were in the game. It's not like Calgary was great or Ottawa was bad. It was just a difference of one team had energy, the other team didn't. One team had skill, the other team didn't have as much. As always though, let's kick things off with lineup changes. And with injury, illness, and suspension, the Sens had a few changes to the roster. After leaving the Canucks game after the first period on Wednesday night, Cody Ceci was unavailable and did not play. Joining Ceci on the unavailable list was, you guessed it, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who did in fact get a one-game suspension for his hit on Sautner on Wednesday in Vancouver. I'm still upset that Virtanen got off scot-free, but I can't say I'm surprised by this decision. Do you agree with it? Let me know in the comments below. But Ceci and Pageau weren't the only Sens unavailable last night, as Chris Tierney was dealing with the flu and he couldn't play either. With the Sens only carrying 20 players on their western swing, and 3 of them now unavailable, the Sens needed to call Belleville and call up 3 players. Those players were defenseman Erik Brannstrom and forwards Filip Chlapik and Vitaly Abramov. The game will be Brannstrom's second with the Sens since being acquired in the Mark Stone deal, and will be Abramov's first since being acquired in the Duchesne trade. Abramov also becomes the 48th player to suit up for the Sens this season, and the 8th to make his NHL debut. Abramov joins Brannstrom, Batherson, Balcers, Lajoie, Hogberg, Tkachuk, and Verano. So Abramov, Brannstrom, and Chlapik all drew in for Ceci, Tierney, and Pageau, while Anderson got the start in goal after Anders Nilsson got the start in the first of the back-to-back. And knowing a big start will be key if the Sens hope to keep up with the Flames, they come out fast and grab the early lead. Not even 4.5 minutes into the first period, a pair of first-year Sens get the Sens on the board. Anthony Duclair picks up the puck in his own zone, chips it through the skates of Fantenberg, chips it by Anderson, blows by him, skates into the flame zone, curls his wrists at the last second to pull a pass backwards, lands on the stick of Dylan DeMello, Mike Smith is way out of position, DeMello taps it in the empty net, and the Sens lead 1-0. I mean, first of all, when Duclair came over in the Dzingel trade, one of the first things we heard was how incredibly fast he was. He definitely showed it on this goal. Anderson started out ahead of him. He chipped it through his legs and absolutely blew by him. And then the pass. What an incredible pass. Those are not easy. He actually had to hook the puck back to get it to go back to DeMello. What an incredible pass, and what a smart play. That play gives the Sens the early lead and the perfect start. A few minutes later, Matthew Tkachuk gets sent to the box for roughing Erik Brannstrom, and the Sens have a chance to really extend their lead. Bobby Ryan carries the puck up the ice, Mark Giordano picks his pocket, races in on a breakaway, he's stopped by Anderson, but Giordano is standing literally on top of him, keeps jamming away, knocks Anderson over, keeps jamming away, pokes the puck in the net, and the Flames and Sens are tied at 1. And that goal is definitely being called back because there was no question that was goalie interference. Then I watch a bunch of the replays. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not such an interference goal. That one's tough. It's kinda iffy. Does Giordano make contact with Anderson? No question. When he's jamming at the puck, he hits his pads and Anderson then falls over. Does one thing have anything to do with the other? Maybe, but maybe Anderson was just falling down anyway. Is that enough to get the goal called back? Boy, I don't know. Interestingly enough though, the Sens don't even bother challenging for goalie interference, so the goal stands and we're tied at 1. Unfortunately, that goal seemed to give the Flames a little momentum. They score 2.5 minutes later and never look back. Mikhail Bodker turns the puck over in the Flame zone. Mangiapane picks it up. The Flames race back the other way 3-on-3. He feeds Derek Ryan, who goes back to Mangiapane. He goes across the ice to Hathaway. He taps it in the empty net, and the Flames lead 2-1. Turnovers, laziness, it's always the same thing. I mean, at this point, I'm not even surprised. I see that happen and I go, yep, that looks like every other goal they give up. Thankfully, Andy holds the fort, the period comes to an end, and the Sens only trail 2-1. The Sens turn the puck over again, Derek Ryan feeds Mangiapane, he fires a wrister by Anderson, and it's 3-1 Flames. Hey Sens! I got a new business venture for you! How about Big O's Bakery? You love serving delicious turnovers, the least you could do is at least get money for it! Thankfully for the Sens, the damage doesn't get any worse, and they get to the end of the second period, trailing 3-1. But then about 11.5 minutes into the third, the Flames extend their lead. Brady Tkachuk fumbles the puck in the corner, Matthew Tkachuk picks it up, he feeds Frolik, who feeds Backlund, who beats Anderson, and it's 4-1 Flames. The worst part of all of this, they weren't even done there. Calgary would score again. With 1.5 minutes left in the game, Frolik has the puck at the side of the net, he feeds Tkachuk in front, who tips it by Anderson, and it's 5-1 Flames. And Brady's sitting on the bench thinking, I'm really gonna have to hear about it now. That's Tkachuk's second point of the night, as he takes over the Tkachuk versus Tkachuk point-scoring lead. Brady had a goal in the first Sens Flames game, Matthew had a goal and an assist in the second game. But Matthew has the bragging rights, because the Flames won both games, and are going to the playoffs. On the bright side, though, because it was a 5-1 hockey game, the Sens didn't have to pull their goalie, which means there was no free goal. With that in mind, Tkachuk's goal was the final one of the night, and the Flames skate away with a 5-1 win. And the Sens lose again, as the record falls to 3-12-1 in their last 16 games. Oh man, this team stinks. Let's just get into good news, bad news. Yeah, the season's lost, and yeah, a lot of nights it's hard to figure out why they should even try. But the Sens continue to do that, and that is the good news. Do they always have a great effort? No. In fact, a lot of nights is really not very good. But at least they keep making an attempt to try. They haven't just rolled over, and it's nice to see. A perfect example of that, near the end of the first period, Sens are down 2-1, Dylan DeMello goes out of his way to block a shot. Then late in the second period, down 3-1, Magnus Pajärvi goes out of his way to block a shot. The Sens blocked 15 in total last night, and that's paying the price. Those pucks hurt. Trust me on that. Especially when you get them on the tops of your feet, or on the sides of your feet, or in fact really anywhere on your skates. There isn't a ton of protection on your skates, and so when you get it there, it really hurts. So for the Sens to continuously go out of their way to block shots, knowing the season is lost, and they're putting their bodies on the line for nothing, it's nice to see, it'll help next year, and that is the good news. Now, for the bad news. If the Sens aren't able to get healthy in a hurry, Chlapik, Abramov, and Brandstrom are going to have to stay with the big club, and that is the bad news. I've been a big advocate, especially over the last month, of keeping the young guys in Belleville, and I won't waver from that. Having Abramov, Brandstrom, and Chlapik with the big Sens is taking away from Belleville's chances. Yeah, they're 6 points up in a playoff spot, but every point is important right now, and it's important that they continue to have those players playing together so that come playoff time, they're all very comfortable with one another. That goes particularly for Brandstrom and Abramov, who are brand new to the club within the last month. Hopefully the Sens can get some reinforcements, and one of those reinforcements might be Thomas Chabot, who could be back on Saturday. And hopefully they are, and hopefully that means Abramov, Brandstrom, and Chlapik can go back to Belleville. Because keeping them in Belleville is really important right now as the Belleville Sens get ready for a playoff race. They can't help the playoff race being on the big club, and that is the bad news. Next up, the Sens wrap up their Western Canadian road swing with a visit to Edmonton to take on the Oilers Saturday afternoon. That contest will be the second and final meeting of the season between the two teams, with the Oilers currently holding a 1-0 edge in the season series, thanks to a 4-2 win in Ottawa on February 28th. Since that contest, with the Oilers still kind of in the playoff race, they haven't been that bad over the last month, posting a record of 6-4. On the season though, the Oilers sit 24th in the NHL with 73 points, while the Sens sit 31st in the NHL with 56 points. It'll be a battle of two of the 8 worst teams in the league, so it should be fun. And because of who they are, despite it being a Saturday afternoon game, they don't even get Hockey Night in Canada treatment and get jammed on local television. Regardless, slowing down McDavid will be huge if the Sens hope to pick up a win. See you Saturday afternoon.